Do you know why Felix is your bias? Join me and let's find out. Felix is a perfect example of why personalities aren't fixed. What does that mean? It means when I was doing research for Felix, I was coming up with a lot of different MBTI results, and it was driving me bonkers because it felt like there wasn't a consistent one. So what does that mean? He's a combination of ENFP, ENFJ, ESFJ. Maybe he's a combination of all three. What the heck is that all about? It could possibly be, as what I mentioned in Hunjin's episode, could be public growth. It could be his stage presence. It could be his persona, what is his personal growth, or it could be all things all at once simultaneously. So let's dig in and do a quick refresher on MBTI before we proceed. Hey, before we dig deep, I want to say thank you to Rory Flamingo. I know Felix is your guy. And Dale, our friendly guest from the UK. I know Felix is your man, so this episode I'm dedicating to you as well. Let's go. And one more thing before we get started. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm just a baby stay. I'm having a lot of fun with this series, and we're continuing on. For those, if you're not familiar, I've already done Sungmin. I've already done Hunjin. Now we're doing Felix. So let's talk about MBTI, Myers-Briggs Type Indicator. What the heck is it? What does it even mean? I go into fuller depth on that with the Hunjin episode. So if you want to see exactly a little bit more details of what the breakdown is, please go there and give it a kind like and subscribe. But just to refresh, it is all about preferences. So it's your preferences in that point of time of your life. It is fluid, as I had mentioned before, and it will evolve over time. And if it doesn't evolve over time, that's okay. It just means the way you score might get more solidly into one area, one over the other. It's not etched in stone. It's always going to constantly evolve. And honestly, sometimes it just depends on what circumstance you're in. So, for example, when I was in my corporate tech sales days, I was way more ENTJ. Now that I'm in this marketing and more creative space, I'm an ENFP. So it doesn't mean I'm not the same person. It just means when my brain is focused on task at hand on certain things, I tend to lean more towards one way or the other. And if you look at your score results, my TJFP, they're about 50-50, so my brain is kind of split between the two. You'll notice that in your results. If you haven't taken the tests yet, there's tons out there. The one I recommend is 16personalities.com because it's a lot of fun, and it gives you the results, and it kind of gives you an idea. No, they don't sponsor me, but if 16 Personalities, if you want to sponsor me, I'm here for you. Okay, I've been a little nervous on releasing the Felix episode, you guys, because I've gotten so many different results for him. Is he an ENFP? He's an ENFJ. Is he an ESFJ? Is he an ISFJ? We're going to go with the ones that I have seen most predominantly, which is ENFP when he was younger. And then he himself has said it flips between ENFJ and ESFJ as he's gotten older. But all at the core root of it, I think he still touches on it, all of them. So, very similar, but very different in a lot of different ways. So early on with Felix during his pre-debut days, you see him being playful. He was expressive, a little bit more spontaneous. And that's also an indicator of, at that point in time, he was fighting for his, to stay in the, team. He was young. Right? When you're younger in your teens, you can be a little bit more expressive because you are going through the feels at the same time. As we see Felix maturing over time, he realized it's more than just him debuting. It is him debuting with the team. And I'm not saying back then he wasn't a team player. All I'm saying is as he's matured and his personality really sees the impact of teamwork together, you see that playfulness, expressiveness, that spontaneity kind of mature a little bit more, maybe massage it down a little, that he understood the reason and value of being structured. He could take his creative side, that personality, to be more people focused and help the team. And because of that, it helped develop his leadership skills and his understanding of where he could rise to the challenge on behalf of the team. So because he cares so much, because he feels and he wants everyone to succeed, because that's the personality of an ENFP typically. The J part of it, evolved into saying, hey, I too have a value that I can contribute and let me help lead the way. Case in point, it was at the Met Gala. He introduced the members who were way too shy, which majority of straight kids are introverts, to introduce them to other celebrities. And those types of subtle skills, speaking up in front of the press in English, whereas the team may or may not have felt comfortable speaking English, those things have developed the ENFJ side of Felix. Now, there is the ESFJ. He has said he's evolved. And there's even been talk, he said, I'm ISFJ. This could be a result of his interactions over time. He's 8 years into being an idol at this stage. That, you know what? Even if you get your energy from external, right, as an extrovert, there's no two ways about it. I'm an extrovert and I get tired over times. And the older I've gotten, the more I think I've realized that, hey, you know what? Sometimes I don't want to pull energy. I don't feel the need to pull energy from another crowd. I'm just not getting that level of absorption as I used to. And sometimes you have to pull up your energy within internally inside your cells. So extroverts can have moments of introversion. So that's where I think sometimes some folks have seen the ISFJ, and I think Felix has mentioned sometimes I'm I, sometimes I E. It wouldn't surprise me if it's just exhaustion, to be honest. Like that, those guys are constantly on the go. So think of Felix as heart first, then logic most of the time, but as he evolved, he sees himself becoming a little bit more logic-based. Not a ton, but enough where he sees that level of maturity. So again, because we know MBTI is flexible, there is that shift of like, youngers, it might be based on your instinct. And as you get older, it's about your responsibility and accountability. So again, that small little shift. One thing I want to make sure that we're clear about this is with the personalities of ENFP and ENFJ, you may think of their personalities being somewhat soft, but the truth is they're actually very solid on the inside and soft on the outside. It's no wonder I forgot which SKZ talker it was, where they did behind the scenes, and it was right after they won the Mama Awards, and Ian was literally in Felix's arms, just bawling his head off, and you could feel and see that Felix was his pillar for him. And so, yeah, Felix might be a big old softie, but he's definitely got this quiet strength that I think a lot of members lean to. So speaking of Mama, let's talk about stage presence and that personal presence. So on stage, Felix is very grounded. He looks very controlled and commanding. That's when he's in his ENFJ mode. That's when it's been activated because he's focused. He wants to give a good performance for the stage. So he's hella focused on making sure it happens. But it's funny because the second they're done doing their routines and they're in their more casual moments of their stage presence, you see that affectionate, more playful, I can't say it, the chick vibe, right? That is where you see that more ENFP, where he's just so much more sweeter. The golden sunshine, he's more sunshine. That's when you start seeing that sunshine side of him. I think when you're also seeing him with his real voice drop, I think that's when he's really leaning into like showing that solid side of him. So again, same person, different environment, but it is all Felix. So if Felix is your bias, I'm going to go ahead and assume the first thing that catapulted you into the world of Felix is the fact his stunning visuals. He is an incredibly good-looking human. And there's something about his facial features that makes him, I think, that androgynous look, that he can be feminine and he can be masculine at the same time. And then when he starts talking, it's like, wow, where did that come from? And it's that juxtaposition. Yes, I use that word juxtaposition. Look it up if you don't know. Word of the day, juxtaposition. It's the Felix effect. And if you're not familiar with the Felix effect, ask my friend Dale from the UK and watch that video and him reacting to God's Menu. I think God's Menu really set the tone for separating Stray Kids from a lot of other acts because of Felix's deep, deep, deep voice. It's incredible, but I don't want to just rely on his looks. I want to acknowledge that, I mean, the man's gorgeous. He's cool. He's got the, what's that called, kids? Aura. He's aura farming every time he's on screen or on camera. We get it. And his stage presence reflects that as well. So I want to talk a little bit about his pre-debut days, because I think it's important to know where that ENFP, when he tested when he was younger, has shifted to the ESFJ or ENFJ to his older years. And I think it was because he did have a playful personality. ENFPs are known as life of the party. They are the ones that will connect people and bring them together in a group and make everyone feel welcome. And he is Mr. Sunshine. And there's no changing of that, because that's his nature. He is a welcoming personality. But during his pre-debut years, he had to learn Korean very quickly. I think they said at that point it was like 2 months or 8 weeks in learning Korean. And it was a criticism from JYP of, hey, can you pick up Korean fast enough to be a Korean idol? And there was that moment. And if you haven't been spoiled yet, spoil alert, Felix was eliminated at one point and then brought back at the very end. But his determination, his focus, his ability to fight his way back in is very much where I believe the beginnings of that, ENFJ, that J, that fighting, that judgment, that realization of that he had to focus and hanker down if he really wanted to debut with the rest of the team. That is I would say, think about that focus and determination, and perhaps that's what is drawing you to him, because he's not just always sunshine and puppies, and unicorns. He really has a driven side to him. Okay, and I'm sure this is enough about this whole, MBTI business. Talk to me about love language. Felix is my guy. Well, if you love Felix or someone of Felix's personality type, he is a touch guy. He's an acts of service, and he's consistently so. So how many times have we seen videos of him just touching and massaging all of his members? And I think he's got really strong hands, because there are times when you see him just walking up and he's put his hands on their shoulders and all the members are like wincing in pain. It's because of his intuitiveness, right? He knows, as a performer, he probably knows where all the aching points on your joints and bodies are, because he too is probably experiencing it. So he just knows where to go with his favorite members to massage them. And to some degree, because of his ENFP personality, he's probably doing it for fun to, what's that equivalent? Like, he knows what buttons to push. He probably knows what knots to push with these guys as well. So yes, his love language is all about physical touch and acts of service. The more he can help work out those knots for his fellow members, I think it gives him a lot of gratification. So this 100% aligns with extroversion and that people-centered approach. So he's not doing it for the cameras too, by the way. This is all about him. If you're attracted to that personality type that is affectionate, that loves that sense of touch, and you yourself are averse to it, you may want to maybe just articulate, better communicate with them. If you're an introvert and you don't necessarily love that touch, the fact that the Felix personality type is also the acts of service, maybe you might want to lean into that to say, hey, I really appreciate when you try to hug me and hold my hands, but what really makes me, get more comfort is if you were to do X, right? Or for those that are like, yeah, heck yeah, fondle me all day long, please, I love it, go for it. It could be argued, I didn't mention it in the Sungmin episode, but Sungmin likes to be manhandled, it looks like. So he's that person that's like, doesn't want to hug for the sake of emotionally hugging, but I think he definitely enjoys that touch when it's in like that playful time, if that makes sense, you guys. All right, so I've gone on way too freaking long for this, but key takeaway on Felix is the fact that, yes, he's got multiple MBTIs, but this is a perfect example of people growing and evolving and being the same thing and different things at the same time. And that's why, again, this whole science that people talk about with personality types is not exact. I would argue it's exact for that moment in time. So don't get confused over it. Felix is beautiful. We all understand that. But be aware that the Felix you love is soft on the outside, but a very solid soul on the inside. Don't confuse their playfulness with someone that's careless. Enjoy your time with Felix. And as always, if you like what I'm doing here with this series, if you want me to go in more in depth, by all means, let me know. This was just a fun ride for me. Like, subscribe, and let me know who the next person is that you'd like me to do. We've already done Sungmin, we've already done Hyunjin, and now we've just finished Felix. This is a really fun series. So want to hear your comments and let me know if I'm full of crap or not, because why not? Let me know. And thanks again, you guys. Keep commenting because I am taking note and I appreciate all of you.